Hey guys, we are back for day 11 now. I'm running out of argon, I'm running out of welding electrodes. It's all going really well, but lots to do today. We also have a pretty interesting new development in terms of the actual display, because it's going to be sitting on top of something when it's displayed. I wanted to have it like climbing onto a bit of old tech in a box. I actually have got that piece of old tech here. Basically the idea is you have the Chameleon like climbing on, seems vaguely sturdy. So you'll have the body coming here, the head there, tail curving around like I said, and then arms and legs basically gripping onto this platform. So that's the idea. I think it gives a cool contrast where you can kind of see like where the parts are coming from. So we need to do a few things to this. I want to take all of the parts off it so it's more of a shell. Currently it's got some like quite cool bits that would be useful in other builds, so I need to remove that. Gonna take these handles off, or at least one side of them, so that it means it won't be in the way of the Chameleon as it's like climbing on. But that's not gonna be today's job. Right now we're gonna focus on getting the actual Chameleon looking like a chameleon. Right, I'm just gonna start choosing some pieces to fill in that void, and I'll show you when I've like got an idea rather than you watching me just think for an hour. So I'll see you in a second when I know what I'm doing. Okay, new tactic. Instead of using the cardboard thing that I had jerry rigged up, I've just made this, which basically indicates the length of this speaker that I want to attach. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to weld it onto here, and then I know what can weld up there to sort of meet it, and then I'll build everything out around from there. Okay, currently this is what we're looking at. Nothing's fixed in place, but I'm just laying stuff out as an idea. And then from the circuit boards that we got, I've taken this, and I think maybe that will like fill this out a bit more at the side. The problem is that this, not weldable. This also not weldable. I have got another one that would go on the other side. So I think they'd work well. I just need to decide how I'd fix it all together so it's actually strong. But I think that's what I'm gonna do, because they're big parts and really we just need to like fill up this space. I'm actually really happy with these. These are gonna be great. The reason that they're gonna be so great is because they interact size-wise really well with this. That fits so well with that shape. So I'm gonna attach one on each side so that they're branching out, and then that way it'll be a really good way to like connect that part of the body, and we'll have something else fill in the middle there. What I'm gonna do now is I'm actually just gonna commit to having this big black piece here, which means I need to do my usual and figure out how am I gonna weld something unweldable, super gluing some weldable points onto the non-weldable stuff, and then I'll weld that to the structure, and then that's just like my main fixed point, and I can start actually using purely welded sort of tension to be holding this whole piece together. We've only got about 11 days. I think we're more than halfway, so that's good. But it does also mean that I'm gonna have to work every day and all the weekends and everything like that. So, you know, you win some, you lose some. Yeah, this is why welding something big is such a pain. It's so hard to move around. Now that we've got this nicely welded on, I'm going to start working on these bits and figuring out a way that I'll be able to weld them onto here. I think that's going to involve me taking these welding rods, got those glued in, and then what I can do is I'll weld them together there, I'll weld them together there, and then it will be like really firmly held in place, and that's what we'll start to actually like build our welding framework up from. I've actually welded that bit to the end of the tail so that we can predict how to join the whole structure up, so that's good. And then obviously these two bits, they're not actually joined together properly, I'm just holding them like that, but they've been welded up. I think I want to attach them to this now maybe, just so I can see how it's all going to fit with that. But I think probably the first thing that we need to do is connect here to here. So I'm just going to find a part that does that, and then you'll see it. There we go, look at that lovely shape. So what I've done here is I've taken some more of those welding rods and I've just like reinforced this tail section. Just makes it like way more secure having that. Obviously, this isn't going to provide enough structural strength for anything. It just makes sure that I'm not going to like accidentally knock this and break it basically. So it is going well. Progress is probably slower than I'd like, I think is how I describe it. But it's good to actually have like a bit of a shape. I think I might lay it out and compare it to the diagram. It's always interesting to see how much I'm able to like stick to the diagram. It usually ends up being a bit different by the time we actually get around to it. Okay, I think we did a pretty good job. If you look from above, it's close. I mean, it's a bit like thinner here. It gets a little bit skinnier before the tail, but I think partly that is because I've changed the angle that the tail is coming off. It doesn't curve around here as much. So I think actually that's probably a pretty similar thickness to that, but we've stayed fairly true to it. And then the arms will kind of come down from here. So I'll need something similar to that to go there for the legs, but yeah, pretty happy. If you think it looks like a chameleon, let me know. If you think it definitely doesn't, maybe keep that to yourself because I don't have enough time to change much here. A few days ago I said I thought my argon was leaking, that I was running out. With the limited time that we have to complete this piece, losing a couple of days while I waited for some replacement argon would be really, really bad. It's happened, I have run out. I'm on like absolute zero now. I'm pretty much running on fumes. I've got a new tank coming tomorrow, so I'm going to swap that out. So what I'm going to do with the last little bit of argon that I have now is just as much welding as possible and see what we can get done. I need to strengthen this up and potentially add just a bit more structure to it as well. So that's the plan for today. We've just added a bunch of strength. This black heatsink part wasn't really secured very well, but it's much better now. Obviously, it'll kind of be hidden. You won't really see it because it's going to have loads of other stuff laid around the top, but it's just good to get it secured in there anyway. Don't really want to have any weak spots on the piece. But yeah, now I basically just need to wait for my argon to arrive. We're getting the new argon delivered today. That should be here. It says between 9 and 4. I'm hoping that it's closer to 9. We have got a tiny bit of argon left in the tank, so I'm still going to be welding using that in the meantime. But I feel like it would be pretty typical that it just arrives at 4 at the latest possible point. I really need to get a lot done today, and getting the argon sooner rather than later would be pretty helpful with that. Okay, it's time to start welding the tail on. God, this is so much heavier than the entire rest of the piece. That has really made it more weighty, but it's probably going to be the heaviest part of the whole thing, at least. Oh, I think that's the argon cooling. Hello, hi, are you here with the argon?
Hi, Zach.
Oh, it's you. It was my dad, not the argon. Oh. Ah, mother. Oh, that's hot. Jesus, that was hot. Definitely got the energy a bit too high. Forgot to turn it down from earlier. Messing up my electrodes, really. Woohoo! God, it's heavy, really heavy. But this means that we can add other parts on and get this body sorted. Namely, these parts, which are gonna go and join onto the tail here, like that, there. That's gonna be good. Oh, now a slightly annoying thing is this is a massive magnet, so every time I put it near metal, which happens quite a lot in the studio, it just picks it all up. Okay, update. So I've got this really loosely attached. It's just glued in place so that I can start like welding that structure around it. So I'll actually show you how I've done this. So essentially at the bottom you have this lip of the speaker, and so that's pressed up against there, and then that's sandwiched between this, and I've just used 2 nuts to sort of keep that in place. So now we just need to actually get it welded in place. We're gonna do that on this side and then just repeat the process on the other side and get everything nice and stuck together. Okay, we have more argon finally, so I just gotta get this hooked up to the welder and then we're gonna be good to go, which is a bit of a relief. It's actually been quite a time jump since my last little bit of filming. I had some figuring out to do that just wasn't very interesting to have on video because it's basically me just staring at piles of stuff and trying to figure out what I want to do. But I think I'm gonna use some of these as sort of like the center parts of legs. They need to be a bit wider and a bit longer, but I can sort of bulk them out with extra metal, but those will be like the core of the legs. And we've also got these added on pretty nicely, so that's good. I'll hold this up. It's getting heavier, but yeah, we've got a much better sort of body shape. This middle bit here will get filled in pretty easily, I think, I hope, who knows. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with all of that. I'm gonna call it a day for today, but I'll see you guys in the next one.